right, what's up, this judgment? I'll take it a step farther. Like this key Peter thing. I'll explain Peter to you. I'll explain what they were going through, what they were thinking, right? And where they messed up when they were, hey man, we're making up Christianity. Hey, and they were making it up all along. I'll tell you exactly where they messed up and how they got tricked. No, I'm not going to put it into it because if I show you things of this world and you don't believe, how can I show you spiritual things? Jesus Christ. Anyway, so the reason Peter's name, right, is Simon, and he gets renamed. His name's Shivas, which means the rock. The reason that happens is because they're ripping off Moses in the desert, right? Jesus is like it's constant. Like they were going through the Old Testament, but they didn't know it. But they're like, oh man, this part sounds cool. The cornerstone that the builders rejected. Like so, as they're building this, like over time, they're like they'd run into a problem, and they'd be like, oh man, let's go back to and they'd go back to the prophecies or whatever was in the Old Testament and be like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's put that in. That's what the cornerstone that the builders rejected is God. God's saying, you guys stole everything of mine and didn't even put me in there. You guys wrote the Ten Commandments out. But so anyway, I digress. Did I say it? Let me say that in French and Latin and Spanish and whatever. So the reason, right, that Simon gets read, save us the rock, is because they're ripping off Moses in the desert, right? And it's part, I don't even know because I haven't read the Dead Sea Scrolls. Probably somebody had that because I haven't read them, but I know that it's the story of Jesus. It might be in there, and I don't know, whatever. It's not important, right? Moses goes up to the rock the first time when he's in the desert, when he takes the Israelites out of Egypt, right? God tells Moses to go up and he hit the rock with the staff, right? He's like, these people they need water. And he says, go up and hit the rock with the staff. So Moses goes up and he hits the rock with the staff, right? Water comes up, right? The second time, Moses is told, go up and speak to the rock, and water will come out. For some reason whatsoever, I don't want to get into like what Moses was thinking. Maybe I was there. Maybe I am Joshua, son of Nun. But Moses disobeys God. And instead of hitting the rock or speaking to the rock, which is what God told him to do, he goes, go and speak to the rock this time. Moses hits the rock again with the staff. Water comes out. But because of this, Moses isn't let into the promised land because he disobeyed. Whatever. That's not even the important part of the story. But the second time, God tells Moses, go speak to the rock this time. Let them see you speak to the rock. So Caesar Augustus and the Catholic Church and everything, when they were sitting there, they're like, oh man, that's a great story. So we're going to rename Simon the Rock Peter because now Jesus is Moses. And Jesus is speaking to Simon and he's saying, you are now the rock where my water will come out of. That's where that comes from. Bishop Barron probably doesn't even know that. I doubt anybody in the Catholic Church knows that. I doubt you've even never heard that. That's where it comes from. I can tell you exactly what they were thinking when they wrote it up. The reason that Simon gets renamed Peter, the rock, is a ripoff of Moses because he speaks to him, you will now be called the rock, and my water will come out of you. Not God's water, my water, my church. Wait, in Acts it says, when he talks to Paul, he says, why are you persecuting the way? My way, this way, the rock, my water. But well, if you're the living water, then why are you turning water into wine like Dionysus? Why is there a Pope Dionysus? Why is there? But that's see, I could go on. I could go like I know a lot of stuff. God showed me so much stuff. But let's just stick with it. How can I show you spiritual things will happen when you can't even understand the things in front of you? So let's just stick with this teaching. David Jeremiah. Let's turn to Ephesians 4:24. No, let's just stick with it. Moses, the second time, he doesn't get into the promised land because God tells him to speak to the rock. The Romans, the Vatican, ripped that off, and when they were making up Jesus Christ, or like doing filler or whatever, whoever, maybe God guided it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's made up, right? That's why he renames Simon the Peter, the rock, because he's imitating Moses. Well, you're like, no, remember Jesus really. Well, if Jesus really was doing that, why wouldn't he just tell everybody? The reason I'm renaming the rock is because Moses. Why would he make it a mystery? God's not a God of confusion. Satan's not even a God. Satan's confusion. God's not a God of confusion. I know that for a fact. God makes me do a bunch of shit I hate, but I know what he's talking about. I really do. I'm like a lot of times I'll be sitting there, I'm like, that's so stupid. I laugh, man, because you're funny. Are you really going to do this to these people? Did you really just do that? Is this really going to make it? God's not a God of confusion. God's very specific. Moses didn't speak to the rock. God told him to speak to the rock. Jesus renames Peter, or Simon, Peter, because it means rock. Because he's imitating Moses because he's speaking to him so his living water can run out. And that's where doesn't that teaching sound fucking super cool? Right? The way that I just explained it to you. Like if I went into if I was like championing Christianity and I went into church and went, the reason that Jesus renames Simon the rock is because named Simon Peter is because he is the rock and his living water will come out of him. He is taking what Moses failed to do and making it so. That would be a powerful teaching, wouldn't it? Why didn't Jesus tell it? Because that would be a super powerful teaching, wouldn't it? You'd be like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Moses didn't get into the promised land because he didn't speak to the rock. Jesus has come to fulfill the law of Moses. And it's taken Simon, renamed him the rock, speaking to him what Moses failed to do, and his living water. See, that's what it was supposed to mean. But that's how you know they made it up, because they don't even know what it means. That would be powerful. You would walk out of that sermon and be like, red hammer. You would think that was the most amazing teaching you ever heard. But they didn't know. They don't know. Why aren't they teaching that? You would think they'd be like, this is why. It's a mystery. It's a mystery because they made the shit up.